All right. I lived in Cobb County almost all my life. I'm 65 years old. 5 years ago or so, we moved away and chose to come down toward South Alabama near the beach, lower cost of living. Um, and I could see a deterioration we lived in the East Cobb area. And so anyway, I was doing a little study here as to how Cobb County, my old stomping grounds, voted. I mean, I went there from elementary school through high school. Then I went to Georgia Tech. And Cobb County used to be the most conservative county, probably east of the Mississippi River, if not in the whole country. It's where Newt Gingrich came from. And before that, there was another guy that was super conservative that got shot down in a KLA uh, airliner over Korea somewhere, Russians. It was a long time ago. I forget the man's name. And but I voted for Newt Gingrich, and I voted for Johnny Isaacson, was the House of Representatives from here. But this is not cheating here, folks. Donald Trump just got his butt handed to him in this county, and I don't know that we need to appeal to these people, because this is really just sad what's happened to this county. And I did some research. I'm not just throwing these words out at random and just to be a crotchety old a-hole. I'm going to back it up in a minute. People who have lower educational status, they used to talk about people who have lower educational status were the ones that voted for Trump. Well, they couldn't back that up, but I can back this up. This county's gone down the tubes, and you can tell from their educational system. So let's go to U.S. News and World Report. It's probably a racist magazine because it's going to print the truth, I would assume. The Cobb County School District. Walton High School is in fashionable East Cobb. Lassiter High School is in East Cobb. Ranked number 1 and number 2, and then number 3 is Pope. When I've lived across the street from Walton. I've lived across the street from Lassiter. When I lived across the street from Lassiter, you could hear the band warming up down at Sprayberry, Lassiter, Pope, and Walton. They were all crammed in there, that tied a zip code 30066 or thereabouts. And I can assure you that back then, state rankings, Walton was probably number 1 or 2. Lassiter was number 2 or 3. Pope was number 3 or 4. And you can see that Pope's fallen to number 24 now. But you want your children to be ready for college, okay? Can we use that as an agreeable standard to what you measure your children's educational level, okay? And this is all in Cobb County, so they all get the same amount of funding. So we can't sit here and argue that one school gets more funding than others, or that it makes a big difference if there is some irregularity between them, because it's all the same dadgum Board of Education. It's not like we're comparing Atlanta schools with DeKalb, or DeKalb with Gwinnett, or Gwinnett with or DeKalb with Cobb County. This is all Cobb County schools. The best school in the state in their Cobb County, is now only 2/3 of the kids are prepared for college. Just 2/3. Let that sink in. These people live in $700,000 houses. A lot of people there do, and their kids are only able 2/3 of the time to be prepared for college. Lassiter is dropped to 64%. I don't know what these were when we lived here, but I can assure you it was higher than this. And the only acceptable number of any of these is going to be about 90+% to me. Not everybody needs to go to college, but they need to be smart enough, educated well enough to go to college if they wanted to. See, these doors are getting slammed on them before they even get ready to apply for the school. And you just can't base it on anything else other than watch the neighborhoods that we go to here. So Pope is down below 50% now. I don't even understand why you allow these schools to still be open. And yet these people that voted for Osmoff and against Trump are going to be anti-school choice. You people are absolutely idiots. The numbers are going to get horrible. They're already horrible. This is horrible, but this is horrendous. 46% for Kennesaw High School. Kennesaw used to be such a great area to live in. 42% for Hillgrove over in Powder Springs. More coming about that in a minute. It's the 33rd ranked high school just in the state of Georgia. That is sad. Alatoona High School's pretty relatively new school, down to 42%. People are only 42% ready to go to college. See, your children have to, you can point at Donald Trump, but your children have to compete with the whole United States and the whole world. This is an unbiased number right here. You're either ready to go to college or you're not. Kennesaw Mountain High School, 38%. Why are you even sending your children to school? I'm missing the point here. Wheeler, when I was a high school person, this was the gem of the county. It's down it's down in the southern part of East Cobb. Only 28% of the kids, 29% of the kids are prepared for college. But you know what? They turn out some good basketball players there. Yes, they do. Good basketball players. Sprayberry. Now, that was another one that I was saying a minute ago. You could hear the band warm up from my front yard, even though my son was eligible to go across the street to those schools, to Lassiter. They were all so close to each other. Only 1/3 of the kids are eligible, ready to go to college. Doesn't mean they're eligible. I mean, when they get there, notice they got to go to a lesser college than they should have ever been. I just don't understand it. But you know what? They've put some good running backs and baseball players out of Sprayberry recently. So, hey, they're in the NFL, and 1 or 2 people have made it out of the past 5 or 10 graduating classes. Rah, rah. North Cobb High School used to be a pretty darn good school, too. 32% are ready to go to college. Campbell High School, down in Smyrna area, I think. It used to be a junior high school when I was in high school. Now, this one right here, McEachern High School. Oh, my God. How far the mighty have fallen. This school used to have a private endowment. If you went out to this college campus 30 years ago, and 40 years ago, I graduated in 1973. This was like a college campus. They had a private endowment. They had a concrete football stadium. They had separate buildings for everything. It looked like a small college. Now, less than 20% of the kids are ready to go to college. But I can guarantee you they're putting a hell of a lot of athletes out there for the NCAA. Yes, sir, Reed Bob. These kids are going to college. They're performing on Saturday afternoon for your big football teams, and they're not ready to go to college. But Cal High School, 20%. South Cobb, the mighty South Cobb Eagles. Oh, my God. Less than 15% ready to go to college. And then my alma mater, dragging up. Well, there's another thing. No, they've got Osborne down. Osborne was a junior high school when I was in. Okay, but my alma mater was Pebblebrook High School. 11% are ready to go to college. That's just, why are the doors open? I need some explanation here. It's ranked 234th in the state of Georgia. They might as well be out in the middle of East Stumblebutt, Georgia, not in Cobb County, with all the good jobs there. You know, IBM is right down the street from these schools. Dobbins Air Force Base is right down the street from these schools. And then dragging up the anchor. Well, no, Pebblebrook was dragging up the anchor. This is ranked by how they're ranked, but it's not ranked by college readiness. And then Osborne High School's 15%, and I have no idea what Devereaux Academy is. Probably when you get kicked out of other schools. Oh, it says total minority enrollment is 70%, and 96% of the students are economically disadvantaged. Anyway, that's your electorate, people. And if you keep letting them get stupid, they're going to keep voting stupid. This really should have nothing to do with race. But maybe it does. I just don't. I don't have the answer for this other than public education. You got to get your kids out of it. You know, I once was lucky enough to have had a private conversation with Martin Luther King III. And one of the things I asked him 30 years ago is, why are you against school choice? If I hated children, black children in downtown Atlanta, if I wanted to destroy their ability to make it in this world, the first thing I would do is send them to an Atlanta public school. And you know, he had no answer for that 30 years ago, and it hasn't changed since then. Your children need choice. If you don't like the hamburgers at McDonald's, you wouldn't keep going there. If they were turning out, what if McDonald's made the 253rd best hamburgers in the state of Georgia? Would you keep sending your kids there? I would hope not. You should have a choice of how to educate your children. You've got to quit voting the way the Democrats tell you to vote. If you want smarter children, it starts here. It starts in education. COVID has proven that sending kids to these big boxes is a bad idea to begin with, not because of passing on the flu, but just because you can do it online. You're going to have to do it online. If you're going to compete with the rest of the world, and 67% ain't going to count it, and this is the number one in your whole county, but 15 and 11 and 12% sure ain't going to count. Your kids are going to be unemployed forever. If you're only 11% ready to go to college, you're not even really that doesn't mean that you're ready to even graduate from high school. So I ranted enough. Here's why your vote went the way it went. And unfortunately, because the school system is controlled by the Democrats, you certainly can't say that it's controlled by Republicans. But the educational system is controlled by Democrats, and this is the fruit of what you've got. But I'll tell you another thing. When we lived in Lassiter School District, those white people that had some money fought to live there, and they just wouldn't even listen to homeschooling ideas or alternative schooling ideas. They had to prop their little school system up, but see, you can't outrun this anymore. So God bless you, folks. I don't have to raise a kid in school. I've got kids raising kids now, but they've been taught the school systems are dead. Public education is dead. And you're having to live with the consequences of it in this election.